Hey you guys, it's 11 o'clock at night and I am still making tassels. Yeah, thanks Carla. Um yeah, so I have wanted to do this for a long time and I've always just loved all of the like Bohemian tassels that I see online and that people are making, and I'm just like, oh my god, they're so yummy. And so I've amassed um, quite a bit of stuff that I've always kind of felt would fit into that sort of style. And I've always been very attracted to a bohemian sort of style. So although my junk journals don't necessarily reflect that, but I'm working on it. So I thought, you know what? I'm really going to just go for it, and I'm going to try some tassels. And so watched a bunch of videos and stuff, and I will actually add some links to some videos that I have watched that sort of inspired me to kick me into gear. And also, um, do want to say thank you to Carla and Shelly and all kinds of other people who have kind of helped me out answering my questions and things like that. So I appreciate it. Um, so basically, what I wanted to do in this video is just kind of show you what I've been making over the last couple days, and talk about the materials that I'm using, and hopefully get you guys ready for my live stream, which is going to be on Sunday, and that's actually tomorrow. And I know that that's not like a whole lot of time, but notice. But I just kind of decided to do that today, and got some feedback in my Facebook group that people seem to think that would be a fun thing to do, and was requested that like a materials list in the group was also requested, but I thought it would be helpful to do that in a video form as well. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of show you the tassels that I've made, and maybe to just kind of get your juices flowing and that kind of thing. And then I'll just talk about some of the materials that I've used, maybe while I'm doing that, and then just briefly at the end of the video. So, so these are some that I made yesterday, and most of these are large-ish. I was trying to make some, kind of smaller ones, but um, it's hard to keep them small. Let me just say that, because I don't do things in a small way, except for some of my like mini journals. But anywho, so let me push that pile of fabric up and out of the way a little bit. I was gonna try to clear off my entire desk before I did this, but I think that's like pointless. So let's kind of look at it. We'll just look at them sort of one by one here. And I'm not going to go really detailed on them, but so basically, this is one of the smaller ones. This is about as small as I got. um, and so, really it's just, a bunch of fabric and yarn and, some different fibers and things like that. I use some embroidery floss, and just kind of cut everything into like strips, using a like a roller cutter, on this mat. And I'm not too concerned about the consistency as far as the width of the strips or anything, but I think like a third of an inch to a half an inch is a pretty decent size. Um, And then I just have a whole bunch of different yarns that, I've been saving over the years. I used to do a lot of crocheting, and I made tons and tons of hats, crocheted hats. And so a lot of those hats don't require like a large quantity of a particular yarn. So I used to love going to, yarn stores, and I would just buy like a little bit of a whole bunch of different kinds of yarn. So I do have, kind of a collection of yarn. Anyway, so I made the tassels, and then oh, and I had bought some like bead cones. Okay, and these are just little Well, I'll talk about those in a minute. Anyways, I used a bead cone on this one, and then I just had, I couldn't find my larger like lobster claw like clasps, you know, last night. I did find them, but last night I couldn't find them, so I wound up using these smaller ones. These are just like little, like you know, like on a dog leash or whatever. But and I think they are actually clasps, and I got these at Hobby Lobby. So anyway, and then I just attached some charms onto these. I put one of my, you know, little art tiles, it's just a postage stamp, and some buttons and things like that on a little piece of ball chain on this one. So, and I really kind of was mostly paying attention to color and texture in these. This one a little bit larger, obviously. And let me just see if I can, it might be a little better. Wait, there, that's a little bit better. So this one, I wish that I would have used I would have had a larger clasp on this. I might try to cut this off and actually attach a larger one on there, because I think this clasp is really small for this giant, you know, tassel. But so this one's kind of blues and greens and turquoise, I guess. And then I, you know, added a tile on that one. And here's one that's more, I kind of went with black on this one. And so basically any of the, you know, silk and different fabrics that I used, I tried to make sure they had some amount of black in them. And then I just kind of picked out some colors and sort of mimicked them again, or not mimicked, but just kind of picked them up again using some brighter colored yarns. So like there's some purple and some green and, you know, stuff like that. So, and then this one, I actually used a, this is like a, from a fishing, like fishing tackle, little swivel, you know, with a hook. So, and then some charms and like a bead charm and stuff like that on this one with a little tile. And here's another one that's kind of a little shorty. This one's a little bit short, pretty colorful, and I just kind of went, you know, random coloration on this one. So this one I think I made with the scraps. So, yeah, and this one's got a little tile and some charms and stuff on it as well. And then this one I went with like white and cream and that sort of, you know, color scheme. Used some white yarn, some white just twine and silk and stuff like that. And again, this has the smaller like little clip on it, and I think I might try to swap it out for a larger one. I'm gonna have to cut it though, because I actually attached it to my wire without using a jump ring. I kind of worked the clasp in when I was wrapping the wire, so I'll have to cut the clasp, I think. And then this one is my kind of yellowy orangey one, and this has also like a fishing like swivel and hook on it. Not a fish hook, but you know what I mean, that little clasp. I don't know what you call those things. And this one I actually made on a ring, and then kind of wrapped the, you can see it's, well, it's so full, like it's hard to see, but it is actually made on a ring, like on a giant jump ring. And then I just kind of wrapped cord around the top part of the tassel to hold it together. And then I attached it to like a bead charm. And let's see. This is another like multicolor, you know, very random color collection, I guess, with some charms and things like that. This little fuzzy tassel, or pom-pom, I should say, I would call it a pom-pom. It came off of a strand of these elephants that my mom got at World Market, and she donated a strand of these really cool little elephants. I'll show you one in a second, to my, you know, tassel endeavor. So anyway, that's where those little pom-poms came from. But yeah, World Market is actually a really good source for paper and lots of bohemian type of stuff. They have really cool clothing for one thing, and their clothing is always different, and a lot of it is like one size, which is really cool. But yeah, they have some really neat papers in there and some just really cool like home decor type of stuff that you could like take apart and use for other crafts. Anyway, so that one. And then here's the little elephant that I was talking about. And I think there was 5 on the strand. So he's pretty cool. I'm sure you guys have seen these. So there's this little elephant, and he's got some bells on his feet. So I used him with some purple, I think this is 20 gauge wire, and then um, I did actually have one of my larger like lobster clasps that I could find last night, so that's what I used on here. And you'll notice like I don't pay much attention to whether or not my base metals are matching as far as color and stuff. I don't really care. Like metal is metal. I feel like it all goes together. So anyway, that's that one. So these ones are all basically done, finished, ready to find new homes. So then today, I spent a good part of the morning, which is actually kind of afternoon for most people in the world, cutting silk. So cut a whole bunch of silk into strips, and also some velvet. I found my little velvet stash, and so I wanted to make just a little like key ring, you know, tassel today. So I did make this little guy, and it's just the velvet, and this is that velvet that came from a blouse that my mom gave me. So it's really, really pretty velvet. Um, and then it's just on a book ring at the moment. I think I'm gonna actually put a key ring on here though, and use this for my keys. So, or maybe I'll just hook it on my purse or something. Who knows? And so none of these that I made today have any charms on them yet, but I do intend to put some charms on them tonight, or maybe tomorrow during the live stream or something. Who knows? But eventually they'll have charms. So I found my clasps, and I actually went on a hunt today for more of these swivels with the hooks, and I found 3 of them at like a little mom and pop. I mean, I know that there's other places where I can find tons of them, but I was sort of on limited time today, and so this one little like mom and pop hardware store that's pretty close to our house, I went there. They had 1 package of them. They had 3. That was like their whole fishing tackle section was that 1 package of swivels. So for $1.29, I got 3 of those. Anyway, and they're cool. Like I like the look of them, and when you hook it on something, it's not going anywhere. Anyway, so there's a purpley one, no tassels or no charms yet. And here's another kind of like turquoise teal green one, with no charms yet, with a large lobster clasp on it. And I just like the proportion better. And then this one is kind of like a pink and salmon, orangey type of color scheme, and you don't have to make these as monstrous as I'm doing. Like I just don't know how to do things in a small way. Like I just go for it. So they're turning out really, really full and fluffy. Plus I have all that silk, like tons of it. So, and tons of yarn. I could probably make 4,000 tassels and still have like gobs of materials. Anyways, so I really like the way this pinky orangey one turns out, because that really is my favorite like color combination, pink and orange. And I know I'm talking super fast, you guys. Sorry. So then I wanted to make just a really kind of classy sort of black tassel. And so I used this black, I had this scarf that I bought at Ross a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of like this sheer velvety material. And then some eyelash trim and some silk and some solid black velvet too. So, and then I thought that bead was really pretty, so I used that. And then this just has the swivel on it. This doesn't have a clasp on it yet. And let's see, this guy. So it's like, okay, I am going to try to make some smaller tassels. So I really had to like measure. I kind of like set the strips out on this mat, and I was like, okay, don't go over 8 inches. Anyway, so there's that one. And again, no clasp yet. There's another little shorty, and I really like this one, the orange and green, kind of mossy greens. So, yeah. And I thought these would be really cute for keychains, or even like for a rearview mirror type of thing. And I'm going to try to go a little bit conservative on charms with these smaller ones, if any. And then this kind of like lavender, purpley, orangey. Yeah, and again, no clasp yet. But so yeah, okay. So I don't know how many that is, but I think I've made close to probably 18, maybe 20 tassels so far. I did actually give the first one that I made to my mom, and she was joking about wearing it like as an earring or something. Anyway, it was kind of a monstrosity. Like, it's pretty big, that first one that I made. It's like big like that, you know, maybe even a little bigger. But okay, so that's kind of where I've come. I do want to try to make some more just on a ring, like just on a book ring. And so I'm probably going to work on that tonight and see how far I can get with making that work. Because I'd like to make these so that you could just, you know, use the book ring to attach it to something, you know. Anyway, so supplies. Let's see. You want fabric, okay? Obviously, you know, you don't have to have this quantity of fabric, and it does not have to be silk. You know, I just have all that silk that I got, you know, from the, you know, eBay haul, you know. So you definitely need fabric. Well, I guess you don't even have to use fabric. I mean, you can use whatever you have. You know, you could just use trims, like lace trim, and you know, like rickrack and ribbon and all that kind of stuff. You could just make them with yarn, with different types of yarn. You know, you can use whatever you have. And you know what? Not everything has to be the same length. Like, you can use different lengths. None of these are like even, you know, like these are all different lengths. They're kind of similar, but none of them are like measured and perfect. Okay. So that's, you know, you don't have to do that. But the scary thing is that now I'm just like, oh my God, now every time I go to the thrift store, I'm going to have to look at the clothes, and I'm going to have to look at all the scarves, and oh my goodness, it's never ending. I do still have a wedding dress that I need to disassemble and see what I can harvest off of the wedding dress, maybe for tassels too. But anyway, so fabric, trim, ribbon, yarn, embroidery floss. I have been using, I don't embroider, but you know, I have this giant bag of embroidery floss, so I'm trying to use that. And then I just shredded up a whole bunch of other types of fabric, you know. And then let's see, wire. You want to have some kind of wire. I, through my, you know, experimentation last night, I discovered that I prefer a heavier wire. This is 16 gauge wire. I just like it heavier because it stays where I put it. It makes this part of the tassel sturdier. Like, it just makes it sturdier. Some of these that are made on lighter wire, they are very bendable. Like this one, see? Like, it just bends really easy because it's just made on a 20 gauge wire. So if you're going to use a 20 gauge wire, I would recommend like doubling it and using it double like width. I think 16 or even 18 is better. So the thing about gauges on wire is that the smaller the number, the thicker the wire. Just so it's really weird. Like a 22 gauge is smaller than a 16 gauge. Just saying. Took me forever to like actually get that into my brain. So those, so wire, and I mean you could just use one color of wire. You don't have to have like a whole selection of wire. And then you definitely need to have some kind of pliers. I would say, you know, some needle nose pliers. These are some flat nose pliers are nice for kind of wrapping the wire around, like flattening the wire down after you trim it off. I used to do a lot of beadwork, so I just happen to have a whole bunch of different types of pliers, but I really like these. These are like an all-in-one kind of plier. It has like a chain nose, or a round nose, excuse me, at the very tip on one side, and then it's like a flat nose on the other side. It has these little notches right here, so it can actually hold wire, and you can like flatten out like a bent up piece of wire using these. And I just really like these. If you could find pliers like this, really all you need is this and maybe some needle nose. But otherwise, you want to have some round nose pliers, and at the very least, some needle nose. And then if your needle nose happen to have a cutter, that's nice. I happen to have, you know, a bunch of different wire cutters, but a wire cutter is nice, so that you can get up real close when you're trimming your wire off. So, you know, I would say 2 pairs of pliers and wire cutters. And then you want to have like beads, you know, you want some kind of beads. I happen to have, I've gotten rid of so many beads, you guys. I used to work for a wholesale bead company, and oh my God, I had so many beads. It was crazy. Because I worked like in the counting room, and so I like had to count beads all day. It was awesome, and package them up. But I couldn't let any bead like pass through my fingers without like owning some of them, and then they sold them to us at half price, so it was insanely cheap. Plus they would just charge it to our paycheck. It was like we each had like a bin in the back room where we just put our beads that we wanted for like the week, and they would come through and just charge it to our paycheck. So it was almost like I never even had to pay for them. Anyway, I had so many like semi-precious stone beads and everything. I sold them all on eBay. But anyway, beads, large beads, small beads. You definitely want to have some kind of large hole bead. I would say, you know, something like that, so that you can slide it on like after you kind of, we're going to be crimping the fabric and lace and all that stuff with wire, okay? You're going to be doing that with wire. And then you want something that is going to slip over where you've twisted the wire around at the top. You want to kind of cover that up. I mean, you don't have to, but if you are doing a really nice job wire wrapping, then, you know, then hey, that's great. If you want to cover it up and make it a little bit smoother and stuff, then I would say you want some kind of large hole beads, or you want maybe something like this, which is a bead cone. Okay, so this kind of slips down over that whole, you know, situation there at the top of this fabric, and it covers that up, and then it kind of like comes out down past that and onto the fabric. So, and I just think it looks kind of cool. So some cones are nice, and they come in all different shapes. You know, these just happen to be flat. And then you definitely need, well, it would be good, I should say, to have some jump rings, maybe in different sizes, you know, like some larger ones, you know, like I've got a whole mess in here. Like I have some pretty large jump rings like that, and then, you know, some smaller ones too, for attaching charms and things like that. And I have like this giant box full of these little tiny bottles in all different sizes and shapes. I can't find them anywhere. Let's see what else. What else do you need? Beads, like some spacer beads are nice for using like in between your larger beads. And I just think that that kind of helps to like set them off. Like it sets off the larger beads. Spacer beads and or bead caps in different sizes. Um, Again, not 100% necessary. You don't even have to do beads on them. You could just do wire, and I think they'd be awesome. Um, let's see, what else am I using? I think that's really about it. Like scissors, probably. Yeah, and like some kind of rings. Oh, and hooks, like clasps. Like lobster clasps, or um, those fishing type, um, like this. And if you want to make little tiny tassels, then get little tiny hooks and clasps. Um, so I think that's just about it. It's really not too huge of a list of supplies, but yeah, so I will be live streaming tomorrow, Sunday, which will be February 4th. If I can get this uploaded before midnight, it'll still be tomorrow, but that's actually going to be Sunday. So we'll just say today for most people, because I'm sure you'll be seeing it like in the morning. And I don't stream until 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that gives you like the whole day to get that stuff together if you don't already have it at home. And then, if you don't make it to the live stream, all of my videos automatically upload to YouTube anyway, so you can always watch it like at any time. So that's pretty cool. If you happen to join the live stream a little bit late, I would recommend just kind of watch from where we're at forward. You know what I mean? I had some people that joined last week, and they kind of went to like DVR function, and they started the video over, and so they were never like with us during the chat and that kind of stuff. Just join in wherever you're at, and if I need to kind of recap or something like that for you, I can do that. And there's moderators in the group and stuff, and they're more than happy to kind of go over whatever we've talked about. So don't feel like you have to go back to the beginning if you're joining the live stream a little bit late. You don't have to, honestly. Like whatever I'm saying, it's really not that like earth shattering. So really, and then you can always go back and watch the video too. So, like later on or the next day. I just wanted to make sure and tell you guys that. And so then I will do that tomorrow, Sunday. And then also, I'm live streaming on Wednesdays. So, who knows what we'll do. I'm thinking that Wednesdays are just going to be kind of like hangout day, and, do whatever, and whatever I happen to be working on, and just to kind of chat and get to know you guys and see what's going on in your world. And then Sundays, I'm thinking I'll try to do some kind of a project like this where, I'll have something a little bit more organized and planned out. So, okay. All right. So if you have any questions at all about whatever I've said, and if you notice any discrepancies in my supplies, um, please let me know. Like, ask either in the comments on YouTube. You could send me a message on Etsy. Um, Join our Facebook group. Join, the group. It's awesome. Like, and I'm right there, pretty much all the time, unless I'm sleeping, which isn't even that often. But, um, you know, I'll put the link to the Facebook group in the video description so you guys can join. We really would be awesome if you did. And give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. I really do appreciate that. What it does is it kind of makes my videos come up in the like when you have YouTube like on autoplay or like suggested videos. It comes up more often in suggested videos, and it just helps me get a little bit more view time. So, all right, you guys, and don't forget to subscribe, like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with people that you think might benefit from, seeing whatever it is I'm doing. And remember, I love you guys, and I will see you at 4 p.m. Okay, take care. Bye.